Good morning. So we were discussing basic accounting terms. Now let us discuss next term, voucher. What is voucher? Voucher is a document which provides the authorization to pay and on the basis of which the business transactions are first of all recorded in the books of accounts. A separate voucher is prepared for each transaction and it specifies the accounts to be debited or credited. The form of a voucher varies from firm to firm since vouchers are printed separately by different firms in their own names. Vouchers are prepared by accountant and each voucher is numbered and countersigned by an authorized person of the firm. What is voucher? You must have seen the vouchers of some businesses, for example cash voucher. On the top of that voucher, the name of the business is written. For example, Shreya Stationeries. So if the business is Shreya Stationery, a voucher of that will be printed in the name of Shreya Stationery. On the top, the name of the business will be written and it will be either debit voucher or it will be credit voucher. So when in case of debiting an account, we will use debit voucher. For example, payment of salary, so we will use the debit voucher, and in the space debit we will write debit, then salary account, and if it is any advertisement expense we will debit advertisement expense and make the payment. So whenever payments are made, normally any account is debited. So these are used in case of payment, and in case of suppose payment is received, we will credit that person. Suppose one of our debtors is paying us rupees 5,000. In that case, we will credit that particular debtor. So we will use credit voucher and we will write credit and then name of the debtor. So these are vouchers. These are paper documents and source document or basic documents on the basis of which the journal entries are passed. So when the payments are made or payments are received, at that time journal entries are not made. At that time only vouchers are passed. So the clerk of the business normally writes the entry on the voucher. So these are some thick books in which there are many pages, and while making payment, signature are received from the person who is taking the payment or receiving the payment. So when we are making payment for salary, so we will debit salary account, and then in narration we will write paid salary to Mr. Mohan Kumar so much amount for the month of suppose September. Then below he will put his signature, and that will become the proof of the transaction, and on the basis of that proof entry will be passed, journal entry will be passed in the books of accounts. So these are the basic source document for passing entries. Next is discount. You all know what is discount? It is a rebate or allowance given by seller to the buyer. So whenever out of MRP we are purchasing the goods below the MRP, we are getting discount. Discount are of two types. Trade discount, where discount is allowed by a seller to its customers at a fixed percentage on the list or catalog price of the goods. It is called trade discount. It is not recorded in the books of accounts as it is deducted in the invoice or cash memo itself from the gross value of goods. So trade discount is the discount provided on the MRP. So suppose you are going to purchase a shirt and on the shirt MRP is written rupees 1000, and the shopkeeper has a promise of 20% discount. He has put a board of 20% discount on all the clothes. So if you have chosen one shirt on which MRP is written 1000, 20% discount is 200. So you will get that particular shirt at rupees 800. Now one more thing has to be noted, that trade discount is not recorded. In this case you are getting a trade discount of rupees 200. So trade discount is the discount which is already given by the shopkeeper without any condition. So they are not putting a condition that if you purchase in cash then you will get 200 discount. It is not the case. They are ready to give discount in any case. So it is a trade discount. So trade discount is not recorded in the books. You have to remember, trade discount is not recorded in the books of accounts. That means at the time of making a cash memo or bill, the shopkeeper will write the amount of shirt or price of shirt rupees 800. He will not write 1000. Although the MRP of the tag or price tag is 1000, but since it is a trade discount already declared by the shopkeeper, he will write the price 800 and provide you the shirt. Next is cash discount. When discount is allowed to customers for making prompt payment. So remember this, prompt payment, that means early payment. It is called cash discount. For example, if a seller allows 2% discount for payment within a week, it will be called cash discount. It is always recorded in the books of accounts. Now, how will we record this? Suppose purchasing that same shirt, if we provide 10% discount, cash discount on that particular shirt, if you pay the value of shirt cash on the same day, so if the shopkeeper says that on 1000 rupees shirt we are already providing 20% discount, the 800 you have to pay, but if you pay the amount today itself, I will further provide you 10% discount. That means 10% of 800 is rupees 80. You will pay only 7,820 and you will get the shirt at 720 if you pay on the same day cash. So this is called cash discount. Now cash discount is recorded in the books of account. So last line is also important. It is always recorded in the books of accounts. So if you purchase and then pay cash immediately, so there are some conditions that payment within a week or payment within 15 days, then we will provide cash discount. So for early payment or prompt payment, the shopkeeper is providing some cash discount. That is called cash discount. It is recorded. So on the bill, shopkeeper will write price of the shirt 800 less cash discount rupees 80, and then net price of the shirt will be 720. So he will also in his books record discount provided rupees 80, and in case of trade discount he will not record rupees 200 discount provided. Since discount is loss for the shopkeeper, discount is debited. So discount account will be debited and it will be deducted from the price. Then goods and services tax. So this particular topic is in news in accountancy syllabus for the past 3 years. GST was introduced in 2017 in the month of July, from 1st July 2017. GST is all the indirect taxes like custom duty, excise duty, sales tax, VAT, service tax, etc. merged into single tax. This is goods and services tax. This is collected at the time of sale. But try to understand what is indirect tax and what is direct tax. Direct tax is paid directly on our income. So tax paid on salary is direct tax. Tax paid by a businessman on profit is direct tax. But indirect taxes are those which are not declared as tax, but we pay the amount indirectly when we purchase any good or service. For example, when we are purchasing some goods from the shopkeeper, suppose clothes, so at the same time we are also paying around 10% or 15% tax, whatever rate of tax is applicable, we are paying tax at the time of purchase, that is indirect tax. Before GST, different types of taxes were in different name. For example, in case of restaurant, you had to pay service tax, VAT. In case of any service from bank or insurance companies, you had to pay service tax. In case of production, you had to pay excise duty. In case of sale of a product or you purchase goods from the shop, the shopkeeper had to pay sales tax. So these were the different types of taxes paid by the businessmen, and they charge this amount of taxes from the customers. So suppose you have purchased any food material from a restaurant for rupees 100 and the rate of VAT is 10%, so shopkeeper or the restaurant owner would charge 110. So 10 rupees extra tax is being charged from the customer. Today all these things are merged into single tax called GST. That means the restaurant owner will also write GST on the bill. Shopkeeper will also write GST instead of sales tax. Like this, all the indirect taxes are merged into single tax called GST. So it is not a new tax, rather all the old indirect taxes are merged into one tax called GST. Now other important accounting terms. When a transaction or event is recorded in the books of accounts, it is called entry. So again and again we are seeing journal entry. So recording of transaction. So whenever a transaction like purchase transaction, sale transaction, payment of salary, charging depreciation, providing discount, all these are transactions because they affect the business financially in terms of money. So whenever these transactions takes place, they are recorded in the books and it is called entry. Next, bad debts. Bad debt is a loss. It is the amount that has become irrecoverable from debtor. It is a business loss and is debited to profit and loss account as an expense. Now, suppose there is a debtor of the business, that person has purchased goods of rupees 5,000 and after 6 months you come to know that the person will never pay the amount. That means that rupees 5,000 is your loss and it will be bad debt. So at the end of the year in the profit and loss account you will write two bad debts rupees 5,000. And similarly, if there are more than one customer who has not paid the money, we will add all the amount that has not been recovered and that will not be recovered. So if you are sure that these amounts will never be recovered, they all will be added and then written in the profit and loss account to bad debt. So bad debt is a loss, so it is debited to profit and loss account. Then insolvent. A person or an enterprise which is not in a position to pay its debt is called insolvent. So if you are a sole proprietor and you have a business, and if your business is running into losses and now you are unable to pay your debts, that means any amount in the market as a loan, any payment to the creditor, if you are not able to make payment even by selling all the assets, then it is called insolvency. So the person who is not able to make the payment is called insolvent. In Hindi we call it Diwaliya ho jana. Solvent, a person or an enterprise which is in a position to pay its debt is called solvent. So if a person is able to pay the debts, payment to the creditors or payment of installment of loans, all this payment, if the person is able to do so, that person is solvent. Next is stores. Understand it carefully. Do not confuse it with stock. It is different from stock. The term stores is used to denote materials held by an enterprise for the purpose of consumption in the business and not for resale. Examples are lubricants, spare parts of machinery, packing materials, etc. What are stores? Stores are those things which are used up in the process of production. So when a furniture is made, paint is consumed, nails are consumed, polish is consumed, fevicol is consumed. So in a furniture workshop, all these things are called stores. Stock will be the finished furniture, table or chairs, but stores will be those things which individually do not have any value, but they are used in the process of production. So these are called stores. Revenue. Revenue in accounting means the income of a regular nature from any source. It consists of the amount received from sale of goods and from service provided to customers. So sale amount is normally called revenue for any trader, and if anybody is service provider, the amount received from providing services is revenue. So for a mobile phone company, the recharges we are doing and the bill payment people are making for mobile phone, it is called revenue for that mobile phone company. And for a company who is selling goods, the amount received from sale of goods is revenue. It also includes receipt of rent, commission, dividend, interest. Revenue is related with day-to-day affairs of the business and should also be regular in nature. So any amount which the business receives regularly, that means every month on day-to-day basis, that is called revenue. So it should not be any amount which is received once in many years or 1 year. It is not revenue. As such, the amount of capital introduced by proprietor or borrowing loan is not revenue. So we all know that the loan is borrowed sometimes in many years, capital is introduced sometimes in many years. They are not regular in nature, so they are not called revenue. The revenue from operations. Now in revenue also there is a demarcation between revenue from operations and revenue from non-operating activities. It is revenue earned by an enterprise from its operating activities. What are operating activities? The activities for which actually the business has been set up. So for a mobile phone company, revenue from operations is the amount received from recharges or data packs. But if the company is receiving something from any investment, suppose that company has invested some amount in a bank and it is receiving some interest. So interest earned by that company is not revenue from operations. It will include only sale of goods and services. So suppose Tata Steel is earning, so earning of Tata Steel from sale of steel and iron will be revenue from operations. But if Tata Steel has a premises and it is giving that premises on rent, if it has an empty factory and that empty factory is given on rent and it is receiving rent, so rent received by Tata is not revenue from operations, it is revenue from non-operating activities, and only those activities for which the company or business has been set up, the earning from that is called revenue from operations. Next is entity. An entity or business entity means an economic unit which is formed for earning income by providing service or selling goods. So it is actually a business. So name of the enterprise is called entity. So example is LG Electronics, it is name of an enterprise or business. Wipro is name of a business. Maruti Suzuki is also a name of a business. The name of the business is actually called entity. Turnover. Turnover simply means total sales in a particular period. So individually, sale is called sale of one particular material, but if you add the sales of entire year, it is called turnover. Livestock. Livestock you all know is domestic animals such as cattle and horses. So company having domestic animals which are used, for example in a dairy farm, the cows are the livestock, and similarly in any other business they are livestock. Investment. Investment refer to deployment of funds in the shares or debenture of companies with intention of earning a return. So investment is done, suppose you have a business and you have some extra amount kept in the bank and you want to earn. So these are the savings of your business. If you want to earn something from your savings, so you will put that amount in a bank in FD or any other type of deposit. This is called investment. So when you are putting your deposits in any bank or any purchase of shares, you can also purchase shares from that savings. So if you are purchasing shares, if you are keeping that money in the bank and for earning you are doing so, it is called investment. So all these are some basic accounting terms which will be regularly used in accounting. So go through these accounting terms very carefully, go again and again, try to understand them, put your queries if you are not able to understand any term, because these terms will be used in accounting, and while solving solutions, numericals, you will be using these. And then you also go through the question answers of this chapter. In the next class, we will start chapter number 3. Thank you.